Hi everyone. So welcome to the NoName podcast first of all, and I will be, as you know already, I will be bringing a lot of people from different areas to this podcast, and I will be kind of asking them questions, hearing their experiences, and it would be glad to share, that with you guys. So today we have a special guest with us. Her name is Ria Du Plessis. She is an avid content marketer, and she also runs a content marketing agency. I mean, it's not just content marketing, the whole full stack marketing that she heads. And she is joining us straight away from New Zealand. So we'll bring her in, and then we will talk about, how was her experience in content marketing, and digital marketing, and all those things. So let's bring Ria in. Hi, Ria. How are you?
Okay, like, are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Great.
Great. So we already have started recording. I mean, we can straight away jump to the podcast if that's okay with you.
Yes.
So, I mean, my first question is, of course, going to be about your journey because it's quite an interesting one. You started as a social media marketer, then went to web development, and then email marketing specialist, then digital marketing, and now you're running a digital marketing agency. So, tell us about your journey, like how it has been since you started.
Well, initially, actually, I started out as a junior journalist um, in South Africa, and I started studying marketing and then started working in an agency as an intern, actually. And then I was working under a full stack developer. He kind of like took me under his wing and taught me a lot of the web development stuff. And then from there on, I started with development. And then I became digital strategist. And then I moved to a different agency where I was their web developer and social media specialist. Later on, the role became ACO specialist. But I was doing copywriting on the side while working at the agency because I wasn't really employed as a copywriter there. But obviously, with ACO, copywriting is a big part of it. So I was kind of, I had the position where I was editing the copywriter copy for the ACO because it was kind of in the beginning years of ACO. So I don't think a lot of people actually understood how you write copy for ACO. And then from there, my side, I saw my freelance business actually grew. And then I think it was during COVID. I was still working at the agency in Cape Town during COVID. And then the world kind of went digital, and for some reason my freelance income doubled. Well, in COVID, I'm not, it's a good thing, but I think if it wasn't for COVID and what happened during COVID with the digital world, I wouldn't have like taken the leap to work for myself. And then I think it was October 2020, I decided to quit my full-time job and I completely went freelance. And then 2 months in, I registered a company in South Africa. And then 6 months in, I employed a graphic designer. And from there, kind of, the agency just grew. And then my clients also. So I had this Austrian clients, which actually is still one of my biggest clients till this day, and he's also a developer at Debbie, the Debbie theme, elegant themes. So I kind of partnered with them, and then I became their content specialist. Um, and then I went to Dubai. I moved to Dubai. I grew my client base there. So at this stage, I would say I couldn't put myself in a box because most of my agency, we provided like all services. So obviously, when you don't have a lot of employees, you kind of do everything. You do admin, you do copywriting, you do web development, you do email marketing, everything. So I had a graphic designer and a video specialist doing some like video editings for clients and stuff while I was doing everything else. And with that and with the technology that grow every day, I kind of like taught myself how to do everything.
Mhm.
But then I realized that you can't, in the digital world, you can't be like a pro when it comes to all aspects of digital.
Yeah.
So I had to specialize in something. And at that stage, most of my clients were copywriting clients. So the biggest income came from copywriting. I did like a few websites here and there, but I had a lot of social media clients that I managed their social media, a lot of copywriting clients. And then yeah, while in Dubai, I got a few clients. So somehow it happened where I was an outsourcing partner to a lot of other agencies all over the world. So my client base became other agencies. And then from there, obviously, the biggest thing is in the industry where you have to build relationships, and the same with us. You know, like we build relationships and you work together and become like a partnership over a long period of time, and word of mouth grows and everything. So from there, I was in Dubai for 2 years, and then now I'm in New Zealand. So now I do web development mostly, and now my clients again is mostly web development. So it's kind of like so now it's like 60%, 40% copywriting and web development and email marketing. So yeah, that's kind of long story short.
Oh, that's quite a journey actually. And you were staying in New Zealand. Actually, it's a beautiful country. I mean, I have seen it.
Yeah, we were actually like busy with our residency because a lot of the things that happened in South Africa, a lot of South Africans immigrate to New Zealand, and that's where we are now. I'm actually in the like my company in New Zealand. I actually deregistered my South African agency,
Okay.
so my client base. I don't have any clients in South Africa anymore. Like everything moved this side, and because it's international based business. So I'm very fortunate with that. That most of I've actually built relationships in New Zealand as well.
Right.
Um, and it's actually like it's very different. And that's the thing. I think I'm very fortunate working in Dubai as well and working with different people because the way people think about digital differs in different countries.
Right.
Where South Africa is, I think, very behind. Or the last time I worked in that country, they're very behind in certain aspects of digital. And if a South African watches this, I don't mean anything by it. But I felt like in that area I worked, so like South Africa was behind
Right. I mean, if
the rest of the world.
I will, I don't know whether you will be able to relate it, but as a cricket fan, we are more close to South African team as a
Yeah,
competitive team, and there are few players that even India, I mean, AB de Villiers, for example, and Faf du Plessis, I mean, they are quite kind of,
yeah,
worshipped well in India here also, and they are
yeah.
see.
Even like there's a lot of Indians in Dubai and Pakistani people, and when you climb into the taxi and they hear your accent, because I was talking to my friend in Africa once, and then the taxi driver will be like, "Wait, are you from South Africa?" And then they say like, "Oh, 50%." Like, talk about cricket. But yeah, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, that's the craze of cricket in Asian countries, especially like India,
Um,
Pakistan. But you raised a good point while you were discussing. I mean, you were sharing your story that although you don't need to be pro in everything, but as a marketer now, there's a need to be, at least well aware of what is happening in every form
yeah,
of digital marketing. So not just in content marketing that you are quite dominantly in, but there are other streams. I mean, I was reading one article about Elon Musk, and there's a very small line, and it said that previously we used to say that there's a saying that jack of all trades but master of none. Right now, it
mm,
has changed differently. I mean, you have to be jack of all cards, and then of course you will get some kind of knowledge of everything. So, how do you think that it's important nowadays to upgrade yourself in terms of marketing now? Because you have been in this industry now, you're heading a marketing firm. So, what is the importance now when this kind of highly competitive industry is taking place? There are new tools coming in, there are new technologies coming in. So how do you kind of take on this? What's your take on this? I mean,
I think for me personally, like I felt like there was a certain time in my career where I was so busy working on client projects where I didn't like take time to actually upskill myself. Or that's what I thought. But then at the end of the day, I realized that while working in digital, without realizing it, you are actually upskilling yourself. But then you get people that's like, I work with some people that they are like full stack developers. They don't really take time to upskill themselves in SEO, for example. So I personally take time to spend on. I spend time on LinkedIn, read a lot of articles, um, take time to actually do implement it myself. Like testing sites where I write content, connect because I am a developer. I do that like on the side. I connect it to Google Analytics. I write articles to see how well it actually ranks.
right.
And I think by doing actually the work, you actually upskill yourself.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing in our industry is fear. While I was there myself, like you, when you're starting out, you because the industry changes a lot, you never feel like you are on top of things. Like I was there at some stage when I was younger. I felt scared to take on new clients of a certain caliber or a certain size because I felt, oh, I'm just a freelancer. I don't have all the experience. But the thing is, in our industry, you will never have the experience. So because everything changes completely the entire time. So I think it is important to take time to skill the set the skill your sorry your skill level. But I think just spend time online, spend time on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
talk to people. That's the most important thing because I think when you're a developer, it can also happen that you sit behind your computer, working client project, and you don't talk to anyone. So for me personally is relationships again, chatting to people online like yourself and on LinkedIn and just connecting with other people in the industry.
Right, absolutely. Now, I just want to take this question a bit ahead. So now there are, as I said, that there are new technologies coming in. So I mean, what are some of the new trends that you are seeing in the market? I mean, I think generative AI there should be on the top of everyone, like
Yeah.
ChatGPT, Google Bard, and people are going crazy about it. So, what do you think? These trends will change the whole marketing industry. I mean, digital marketing especially, and that too in content. I think there's a lot of impact. So, what are some of the other trends that you are seeing, and what is your take on these generative AI and everything?
Yeah, I think with digital, with content, AI, and everything, I think it's all linked. So I also went through the stage where I had the fear, like, will AI take over? Like, what will AI take our jobs? Like, what will happen? But I realized, and that also ties in with upskilling.
Right.
I realized, by reading articles, doing research, chatting to a lot of people, that you have to takes things like AI in consideration and all these new technologies. Just last week, like one of my LinkedIn connections launched a different AI where you can actually take this AI to write like copy and it's optimized for SEO. And this is like happening on a daily basis where people are just delivering new AI models and AI technologies. And so I think definitely for me, you have to know what AI is. And I think I'm going to talk about South Africa again, because I think, again, South Africa is behind on this. Um, People will be like, the people I know that has agencies in South Africa, again, they're not like, they won't take time to upskill themselves in technologies like AI. So again, they fall behind. So for me, the biggest thing is, and I can see this happening in the future, um, upskilling AI, your skills in AI and how to collaborate with AI. Because with email marketing as well, writing email subject lines, basic stuff, email automations, Even with web development, it all comes down to AI. So I think even on Canva, when it comes in terms of design for social media
Yeah.
and presentations and stuff like that, it's definitely, I think, AI is on top of the list, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think definitely in terms of that, AI is very like important. I think again, the most important thing is you have to be a jack of all trades, but don't try to learn everything all at once. Like take your time to, because at the end it will tie in with each other. It will tie in together. You can't have an email marketing specialist without a designer or without a copywriter or without a digital strategist or something like that. So I think at the end, just take your time, become like a specialist in what you do. And that's what I actually decided that at the certain time, I didn't want to be a jack of all trades. That's why I'm taking time to become like a very good web developer, a very good copywriter, and a very good email marketing specialist. And again, take time to teach myself all this the base technologies in email marketing.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean that actually makes sense, and learning about things, upgrading yourself is the key. And as you said, people need to kind of look into these technologies as a helping hand, and not just kind of
Mm.
a threat to your job or your whatever you're
Yeah.
doing. So I mean, human machine.
Yeah, I think the basic thing is people are scared because they don't understand AI.
Hmm.
So I think the moment you understand it and you know how to use it, you can actually take your job to the next level. And that's what I realized recently. Like you can literally save yourself so much time and be so productive if you're using it correctly.
Yeah, I mean that's what actually that was going to be my next question. That I do see a lot of activity on your LinkedIn about this Chat
Mm.
GPT and Google Bard, and people are posting about it. You always, I mean, to me, you have seen in the position of there is a always a scope of human machine collaboration instead of just
Yeah.
AI taking over everything. So why do you think people are scared? Why do you think? I mean, there's one
I think
is definitely the threat to their job. I mean, sorry to cut you there, but what
yeah.
are other things that they are looking for, and why they are not kind of adopting it?
I think it all comes down to the unknown. The same with like the past few years with COVID and everything. And even if you look at history and you do actually your research and you look at things like when Facebook came out and Instagram came out and even the internet came out, like people didn't understand it. So they were like, oh, the internet will replace other people and people will lose their jobs. And I think these days with the economy like it is, you can literally only have a laptop. You can upskill yourself with AI. You can learn so many skills and you can become like you can make six figures a year. I think and the problem is people are scared because they don't understand.
Hmm.
So I think the main thing is just do research and then try to talk to people in your industry and see how they are implementing AI. Because I think the moment you sit behind your computer, scared, don't know what to do, that's when you fall behind. And I've been trying to do that myself, like in the past year, where instead of being scared to ask for help from like other people in this industry, I'm just messaging people. I will ask them like, how can I do this? How can I implement this on this website?
Yeah.
Because I think the moment you're scared, everything basically will fall flat. Because you're not taking like you don't have the confidence to take it to the next level, if it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just one end. For example, definitely employees are scared because their jobs are at
Mm.
stake. But at the same time, I have seen myself that the companies, I mean, I have given a lot of interviews. They are quite scared that this guy will come and give me output from ChatGPT. Although I don't find anything wrong in that, because if you are kind of taking some help from the machine that is already there, and it will give you some kind of output already done, and then your job is to quite kind of go and edit some things. So do you think that it's good at their end? I mean, it's allowed at their end that okay, they are they're expecting you to come and use your brains. I mean, it's not that while editing also you are not using your brain. You're doing something with your experience, but at the same time you're taking some help from the chat gpt or
Yeah.
else. So how do you
I
think about this? Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely. I've also seen this. I've had some like guest writers on some of the websites I work on submit content, and you can clearly see that when they went to chat GDP and just like asked for an article and it gave an article, because it's written in a certain way. And the problem for me with that is that I've tasted this actually that a lot of the content that some of these just remember AI is very like it's very in the beginning stages. Like
Right.
so the results that they give is not always accurate.
So,
And you can actually like test this on a lot of like factors, but again, it's not wrong to use it, but I think it's about how you use it. So for me personally, it's about using it to, for example, give an outline of an article. So what you can use it to just give you like paragraph topics, and then you as a copywriter take that and just write the content. So it will save time in the sense of structuring the article, but don't copy and paste if it makes sense. Because also it has developed in such a way where you can take that article, edit it, and Google will still pick it up as AI content.
no.
So that's a big. But then there's a whole debate around AI and Google and SEO, because a lot of people will say, oh, it's fine. Like, but the thing is, AI basically takes content from Google and puts out what's already there. So in a certain way, you're actually just reusing other people's content and rephrasing it. So I think at a certain stage, Google will come and be like, we're like dropping all these websites that used AI. So I think you have to be smart and keep in mind that it's still in the beginning stages, but stay on top of things, like know how to use it, keep learning, keep reading articles, actually talk to people. Um, so for me, I personally, I'm in the same boat. At the beginning, I was like, "Oh, this can save me a lot of time," but then I was like, after a week, I realized, "Oh shit, this is not gonna work."
Yeah.
Um, I'm actually, I am where I am for a reason. I'm a good copywriter, so why do I want to take a shortcut, basically?
Right.
So I think that's what a lot of people they forget. Like AI will not replace human emotion. That's the thing.
Right, right. I mean, that really makes sense. And you actually raised a good, topic that Google is kind of know what content is AI generated and
Mm.
what is not. So, I mean, so far I haven't seen that much of an impact from the SEO standpoint. Like Google
Mm.
now have announced, like Google have announced that they will be kind of reviewing the content and they will see how more we can kind of govern it from here on.
Yeah.
But do you think what is going to be changed in the future? For example, there are multiple how-to guides. First we used to kind of rely on keywords a lot, but now it has changed. Now its intent has come up on top, and we need to, while we write the content, the intent is something that we actually keep ourselves in mind, that whatever we write, intent should be clear, keyword is kind of secondary. And now everything has changed since this AI has come up, and it can take over everything, and it can write content for you, it can do everything. So what are some of the things that you are seeing going ahead will change when it comes to SEO, back end, indexing and all those things?
So I think I've actually recently in the past week I've because Google had the big update, and I actually had the meeting with some of my clients about this. Um, the biggest thing is Google basically went and they said make it easy, basically. So write the way you'll speak.
Hmm.
That's basic thing.
Yeah.
the moment AI can't have human emotion. So where Google, they were like, they will be able to see when content was written with intent to not have emotion in it, if it makes sense. So basically, I'm going to give you an example. So where you will write the sentence and you will end the sentence with a word, but you will start the next sentence with but. So grammatically, we were told this is wrong, right? So you can't be a writer that writes like that. So Google went and they said start your sentence with but, because that's the way you speak. Right. So instantly I was like, okay, so you telling me I need to forget the way I was taught to write as a copywriter. But I think that comes down to adapting, and that's basically what Google in this week. I think like Monday, yesterday, I read an article. Someone said that Google they're dropping the website loading time in the next update. So that's another big thing. Technical aspects will not make a lot of sense for Google because they don't care about that anymore. Because the basic thing is they really care how long the website takes to load. Um, so I think for me, what I actually saw is go back to basics, even with website design. Why do you want to? I'm not a big fan of like moving things on a website or just get down to basics. Tell people what they want to read. Like, put it on the homepage. Like, just think like I was, I was telling myself, think like you would have thought in the beginning of your career. Like, don't overcomplicate things. I think that's the main thing, and that's what Google is going for. They basically said write the way you speak, like explain it to a child. And the same with how to guides and stuff like that. Don't overcomplicate things. Just go and say, take a screenshot, write a paragraph explaining what's in the screenshot. Because I write a lot of how-to guides for Devi and elegant things and stuff. And when you look at that content, they basically talk to other developers, but they don't talk to full stack developers. They talk to developers maybe like me. I want to add this slideshow into a website, and I'm like, I can't remember how to do it because there's been so many updates in Divi. Yeah. And then I'll go back to the how to guide. But the only way I'll find it is because Google ranked it, and it's very easy to understand for the normal person, if it makes sense. So I think that's the main thing with Google. Go back to basics, make it easy, don't overcomplicate things with like a lot of keywords like stuffing and all those things. Yeah. Just make it obvious. Like just write a good article with good. And I think the other thing is that they said is the information needs to be accurate. Like don't write just to stuff words in it. Like write straight to the point, for example. So, what do you think? So, what do you think are some of the platforms and channels that will see, a lot of growth coming in? I know few, like for example, Chatsonic is something that you must be aware that it has got a lot of popularity after the ChatGPT inception and all those things. So, do you think that there are any other channels like these where these platforms will see a lot of growth when it comes to? Yes, definitely. Yeah. I've personally like tasted a lot of these platforms and stuff like that, and I think there's definitely a space for it, like 100%. But I think you just keep in mind that you have to take it as a structure, the article or the content, and take that content and still take your brain and edit the content as if you like just review the article, don't copy and paste it onto Google. Because I think that's the main thing that's wrong. Hmm. Hmm. Agree, totally. So, I mean, what is the future for digital marketing then from here on? I mean, it's quite sure that AI is going to take over. How you handle it, it's your job to figure it out. But what do you think is the future of content marketing and digital marketing, especially going ahead? I think the main thing again will go back to the basics, relationships,
Right.
because we have to realize why do we do digital marketing? Like, what's the point of it? The point is to, well, in my space, the point is to have a brochure website for most clients. They want to show their clients what they do, what their services are. They want to reach new clients. I think the main thing is just go back to basics. Use all these new tools
Hmm.
to basically implement what you want to actually get out in the end. So my thing in New Zealand is, I realized this very quickly when I came here. People here in New Zealand, they don't overcomplicate things. If it makes sense.
Yeah.
They like to go outside. They like to ride their bikes outside. They have a lot of like stores. They like to call you on your phone. They're not very big on WhatsApping or something like that. And that kind of taught me go back to basics. Like that's what I got. That's the reason I got a lot of clients in the past few months here because all they call me and all they want is they want a website where people can fill in a form and basically give them information, contact them just so they can do their job. So I think that's the main thing for digital marketing is I think it will be very localized as well. And I can see that personally here, this side as well. I have international clients, but you can see the way the Kiwis think in a different way than obviously the more international people like in Dubai, for example.
Yeah.
The people in Dubai, their mindset is 360 degrees different than the people in New Zealand. And I think that's I'm very grateful for the experience, but I think it also opened my mind. And I think digital marketing will look different in Dubai in the future than it will look here. So I think it's a very difficult thing to answer. Like I'm trying to answer it like objectively, but I don't think there's one answer for it.
Absolutely. I mean, there are multiple threads involved. So,
Mm.
very interestingly, you actually pointed out that since the starting of this discussion, you have been into the first world country as well as the second and third world countries. So, I mean, it's very interesting to kind of hear from you. What are some of the changes? I mean, you have already told that first world countries are very much adoptive of the new trends, new things coming in. I mean,
Mm.
even in India, I can say that people are not that open to go out and adopt new technologies and trends. So why do you think there's this gap in these two parts of the world where people at one side people are very much open, they want to try out new things, they want to develop new things, but at the same time in the second part of the world that they are not kind of welcome to it. So what do you think is the difference?
I think like when I look at South Africa, I'm going to take my personal experience. I grew up on a farm in South Africa, and when I take my dad for example, we didn't even like it's very remotely the area that I grew up in. We didn't have like cell signal, for example, when I grew up in high school, and then I went to boarding school that's in town. So obviously that opened my mind.
Hmm.
But when I take someone like my dad, financially he's doing very good. He's running a business. So he doesn't see the point. What's the point of digital? Like in his perspective. He's buying properties, doing very good for himself, but digital marketing will absolutely make no difference in his life.
Hmm.
But I've had a lot of like very heated conversations with him as well. When it came down to things like digital shares, for example, like investing digitally. And that also comes down to digital marketing in a sense. Um, where he hired a company rather to do his shares for him, where I go and I invest my own shares on an app.
Hmm.
And I think that's the same thing. I think then you go to Dubai and you're like, these people invest in crypto and they like become crypto millionaires. And my dad's just like, what the hell is crypto? Like, I think the reason for this is it all comes to exposure, like what you are exposed to. And I think that's why for someone like me, seeing like a part of South Africa that's like that, it's coming from a farm. going to Dubai and then coming to New Zealand. Then you come to New Zealand and it's kind of like a mixed thing because New Zealand, we're very full, we are first world, right? So we we're definitely first world in terms of economy and stuff like that and safety and stuff like that. But then you come here and you feel like you're stuck in a time loop. I came to Auckland, I landed today and we went to a mall and they were like there was a store that sold DVD players and they had DVDs in the store and I was like coming from Dubai, I was like shocked. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Living in Dubai, you forget about these things. And then you kind of come back to earth. And now I live in Cambridge in Waikato, and it's a very small town where we're only like 20,000 people. I can still do my job because these people, they're very open minded.
Mm.
And that's the difference between a third world country like South Africa and a first world country like New Zealand. But then you get the different first world country like Dubai.
Right.
So I think it all comes down to exposure, honestly. But it's a difficult topic because people in New Zealand they are not so exposed to it, but they're open minded.
Mm.
So they're willing for me to teach them how to why digital is important. It makes sense. But I think it comes down to the first world aspect of it. And a lot of immigrants that's here and they're very open to different cultures. So I think it's definitely openness and exposure and things like that that makes a difference.
Absolutely. So now
Yeah.
actually coming to the end of the discussion. So what would be the your suggestion for the beginners? For example, they want to start something in content marketing, digital marketing. I mean, I think you have covered 70% of it already. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely ask you this dedicated question about it. So what would
I think honestly, I would just if someone came to me and asked for advice, I would just be like, just start. Like go online, sit in front of your computer and Google what you wanna know.
Right.
Honestly, my only regret is not starting sooner. Like, if I knew what I knew today, I would have started in high school. If I was in high school, I would probably now make money because I would have like taken on the opportunity that a computer will gives me. Like, I went through a lot of like stages in the past year and a half where I was conflicted because there's a lot of like unemployment in South Africa. And I was conflicted about that because for me, there's no such thing as unemployment in my mind. Because if you have a computer, you can actually do anything. You can open an online store. But someone told me that you have to realize that not everyone thinks like you. So I think that's my personal like perspective of it. So I will just tell someone if they want to start, just start. Tell someone else your idea and see what they say, and go online, do research, start a cheap website, start social media accounts, and just start basically. Try to upskill yourself.
Yeah.
Go to Upwork, go to Fiverr. If I think back, I can't even like I'm like I can't believe that I started on Fiverr, but I literally wrote articles for $10, and now I'm like that's not even like 5 minutes of my time. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I also remember, I mean, when we got in touch on Upwork, I was
Yeah.
working for a company, and then we kind of, connected there. There are multiple people doing a lot of things on
Mm.
media, on content, and a lot of things. I mean, they just kind of list themselves on Upwork, and then it's like the journey starts. And that's
Mm.
what how it. And very well said that you are never unemployed, and if you have a
Yeah.
computer, you're always there in the market. So
Yeah, I think it's all about building a personal brand basically.
yeah,
Because anyone can build a personal brand and start generating an audience basically and do anything. I know it's easier said than done, but just start.
so
And it will eventually, even if it takes 5 years, it will happen.
Absolutely. So, what are the the last question? What are the future plans for you, Ria, going ahead with your for?
So currently I'm in the idea. As I said, I actually like deregistered my South African company. Just a lot of people ask me like, "Why the hell are you doing that? Or you're not going back to South Africa?" And my thing is just I don't. I see my future in New Zealand.
Mhm.
We're busy with our residency and eventually, hopefully, citizenship. So my goal in New Zealand is building my own agency a little further because I'm in a sense starting over. Although I already have all my clients, I need to establish myself in a new country. So where in New Zealand, in Dubai, I was pretty much working as a digital nomad because I never had a, for example, I never had a bank account in Dubai. All my money was in South Africa, but now it's completely different because I immigrated to New Zealand. So I'm basically I have to establish myself, get into the community. So my long term goal is to just build businesses basically. Just build but first focus on this business and then eventually branch out to different things, maybe investments. But yeah, the goal is just to in the next year or 6 months hire some help because I feel like it's a constant like busy cycle.
Yeah.
And you have to like do admin, but it's very, I would say, starting a business in New Zealand is a lot easier than starting a business in South Africa, and it's a lot less expensive. It's like literally like $100 in New Zealand, and you're a registered like business. Where in South Africa, I spent over like 30,000 rands, 50,000 rands, and calculating that back to New Zealand dollars, that's like three to 5,000 New Zealand dollars. So you can see the difference in expenses. So it's very easy to start a business in New Zealand. And the tax, it's very easy to do your own taxes. Like so again, tying into the previous question, you can actually when you're in New Zealand, you can just start.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very easy. Everything here, this side is very like easy. Like admin is easy. But
Okay, I mean,
when the work gets too much, it gets difficult.
right, right. I mean, there's no wonder that it's a leading economy, one of the leading,
Yeah.
I would say. But thanks for your time, Ria. It's been a nice connect with you. It's been nice connecting with you, and thanks for your time for the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I mean, I'll
Mm,
best of luck for all the adventure endeavors that you have in front of you,
thank you.
and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.